All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled Taylor Town Council meeting for June 23rd, 2025. First off, we actually have a subdivision authority meeting, so we'll go with that. And I will call that meeting to order and ask for adoption of that agenda for approval, please. Councilor McLean,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
motion on the table, all in favor? Carried unanimously. And just for the record, I'm not sure if Councilor Bruin has just run a little late. I'm expecting him today as well, but we will carry on without him for the moment anyway. So moving on to item number 3, adoption of the minutes. Item 3.1, minutes regular meeting of subdivision authority, May 26, 2025. Mr. Tebow.
Administration has no update to the minutes. Back over to council.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No questions, but I'm prepared to make the motion.
Very well.
I move that the Subdivision Authority adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of Subdivision Authority held on May 26, 2025 as presented.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item number 4, item 4.1, TT 25-0-004, 5503 and 5531 47th Avenue. Mr. Tebow.
Mayor and council will have, I believe we're going to be a trio today. We'll have Hillary Jansen, Selena Newberry, and Chris come up to present to council.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon.
So before us today, we have a subdivision. This is in our downtown. We are looking to subdivide 4 lots off of one property and consolidate them into the property adjacent to it. And then that property is looking to subdivide that into 3 lots. So once we're done the process, there'll be 4 lots that are able to be developed on in this particular block.
All right. Thank you. Nothing extraordinary there, Selena? Okay. Any questions arising? Councilor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was my impression that this had been subdivided a little bit differently before, because it's the chamber's land, or part of the building is on this lot.
Through Mr. Mayor to Councilor Sorensen. Yes, there's 2 lots here right now. There's 2 different titles, so it's 2 different properties. One of them is the chamber property, and we will be subdividing 4 lots off of that property to consolidate with the property that's directly to the east of it.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions attached to that? Councilor Sorensen.
Maybe, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And maybe it was my understanding that the title was changed or something, but I thought that there was some type of, just for them to get the permits and so forth, that there was some type of change in this property.
Through Mr. Mayor to Councilor Sorensen, I think I know what you're referring to. So with that original permit that was issued for the chamber building, the property they were on consists of several lots to one title. So we just required that they consolidate those lots into one lot for the title. And there were also a few other titles. And I actually did that title consolidation myself. So that was just for the property that is for the chamber building. The property to the east wasn't part of that. So right now there's 2 titles for this subdivision. Before there would have been 3 or 4 titles.
All right. Thank you. Councilor Beckert.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Selena, is the chamber okay with all this?
Through Mr. Mayor, through to Councilor Beckering, the town of Tabor is the landowner, and I believe that would be covered under their MOU, and perhaps our CAO would have further information on that.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Tebow.
Yes, the CAO does. So the subdivision that we're talking about is for the property that was, I think, bought by, is it Perry Williams or Pronghorn? Pronghorn, yes. And so a presentation was made to the chamber to take 4 more lots from the chamber and consolidate them into the property that we're doing tonight. So they are aware, they had no concerns, and we had emails that that allowed them to give up those 4 to what we're doing tonight. So they're aware and there was no concern.
All right, sure, thank you. All right, just to clarify, so originally we gave that land to the chamber, correct?
Part of this that we're talking about tonight, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So sort of the whole parcel, I should say. But this additional part that the chamber's consented to give up, as I understand that, that's the base gist,
Yep.
right? But was there any transaction requirement for a cost to the now new company that's,
So land
So you know
sale
what?
all happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, Selena, but the land sale took place and this is now subdividing, I believe, what has already been gone through as a land sale. Is that correct?
okay,
That is correct. So in order to transfer the land, the subdivision has to happen. And then once the subdivision happens and is endorsed, then it can go to land titles and the new titles are created and transferred to the person who purchased the land. Just a further addendum to the previous question that Councillor Beckering had answered, their last plans for the chamber didn't include any of these lots, so it won't affect that plan that was approved on the last permit that we did for them. So there shouldn't be any direct concerns with that either.
all right, thank you. Councillor Beckering,
Prepared to make a motion, Mr. Mayor,
very well.
that the subdivision authority approve subdivision TT 25-0-004, lots 20 to 36, block 6, plan 5638L, northwest quarter of section 32, township 9, range 16, west of the 4th meridian, civically described as 5503 47th Avenue and 5503 47th Avenue, with the following conditions as mentioned. 125. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, and moving on to item 4.2, TT 25-0-003, Eureka 4 lots. Mr. Thibault.
Same team, different presentation.
All right,
So good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So this particular subdivision is taking place in our Eureka Industrial Park. So with this subdivision application, we're looking to create 4 additional, that little parcel that's highlighted as M2. Along the east side, we're looking to create 4 lots there and then have the 1 larger remainder lot left over. So 3 of those lots would be 2-acre lots and 1 would be a 3-acre lot. This, we don't have any land sales for these, so we're doing them ahead of time so that if we do receive a land sale, we're gonna hopefully reduce some of the time on the subdivision so that the land sale transactions can happen faster in the future.
all right, thank you. Any questions arising? Fairly straightforward, I think. Councillor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd be prepared to make the motion that the subdivision authority approve subdivision TT 25-0-003 for Lot 3, Block 13, Plan 2010206, all within southeast quarter, Section 8, TWP 10, Range 16, west of the 4th meridian, of no assigned civic address, with the following 8 conditions.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Just ask for a motion to close the meeting, please. Councillor Firth?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, moving on, then we'll call the regular scheduled Taber Town Council meeting to order and ask for the adoption agenda as presented, please. Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We do have 3 public hearings. We'll call the first public hearing meeting to order and ask for adoption of the agenda, please. Sorry, we did. Yes, thank you. All right. Just for clarification, members of the public in attendance who wish to speak against or for the direct control development application 25-079 will have a 5-minute limit for speaking and must state their name for the record and also must state if they are speaking for any organization or themselves regarding the meeting. All right, thank you. Mr. Tebow?
So I believe we'll have, I think, all three coming up again, Selena, Hillary, and Chris, to provide council the information.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So before us, we have our first public hearing of the day. This one is for a slab-on grade house located out in the Meadows. We've seen a few of these come through council at this point. The advertisement was placed in the paper. It was also placed on the internet for people to view that way. And we did send letters out to everybody within 100 meters of this, so that they would be notified in case they did want to make any comment. At the time of at noon today, I hadn't received any written comments.
All right, thank you. And no one present as far as we're aware, but we'll go through the formalities. Is there anyone present wishing to speak against Direct Control Development Application 25-079? Anyone present wishing to speak against Direct Control Application 25-079 a second time? Anyone present wishing to speak against Direct Control Development Application 25-079 a third and final time? Seeing none. All right, is there anyone present wishing to speak for Direct Control Application 25-079? Anyone present wishing to speak for Direct Control Application 25-079 a second time? Anyone present wishing to speak for Direct Control Development Application 25-079 a third and final time? Seeing none, all right. Just ask for a motion to accept this for information. Councilor Renford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion that council accepts for information the input received at this public hearing for Direct Control Development Application DP 25-079.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Also, item 3.2, I'll call that public hearing to order. And also, once again, members of the public in attendance who wish to speak against or for Direct Control Application 25-080 will have a 5-minute time limit for speaking and must state their full name for the record, and also must state if they are speaking for themselves or on behalf of any organization. All right, Mr. Tebow?
Mayor and council, this is very much like the last one, so I'll have you go through your exercise one more time.
All right.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So before us, we have a public hearing. This one is again for a slab-on-grade home out in the Meadows. This one is just next door to the previous one we had. Again, we've seen a few of these at this point. We did advertise in the paper, put it on our website, and did send a letter out to everybody within 100 meters. And at the time, at noon today, we'd received no written comments.
All right, thank you. Once again, is there anyone present who wishes to speak against Direct Control Application 25-080? Anyone wishing to speak against Direct Control Development Application 25-080 a second time? Anyone present wish to speak against Direct Control Application 25-080 a third and final time? All right, seeing none. Anyone present wish to speak for Direct Control Application 25-080? Anyone wish to speak for Direct Control Application 25-080 a second time? Anyone present wish to speak for Direct Control Application 25-080 a third and final time? Seeing none, motion required to accept for information. Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council accepts for information the input received at this public hearing for Direct Control Development Application DP 25-080.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Councilor Sorensen.
I just wanted clarification. You said no written communication. That means verbal also. Okay.
All right. Thank you. And I just ask for motion to close the meeting. All right. Councilor Sorensen. Sure. Yep. Thank you. There is one more hearing, but that's just this hearing, sir.
Okay, I'll make the motion
All right.
to
Motion on the
close this
table. All in
hearing.
favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And on to item 3.3. Call that public hearing meeting to order. Once again, members of the public in attendance who wish to speak against or for a Direct Control Application 25-081 will have a 5-minute limit for speaking and must state their full name for the record, and also must state if they are speaking for themselves or on behalf of any group or organization. Right. Mr. Tebow?
With any luck, this will be the last one of these that council will have to go through. We do have an update coming in the land use bylaw, which takes these into account because they're very straightforward and a formality. So
All right.
for
thank
one
you.
last time, sir, if you could.
All right, thank you. Selena, nothing?
Good afternoon,
nothing
Mayor
further?
and Council.
Good afternoon again.
So again, same as the last two, right next to the last two as well. We did advertise it in the paper, send the letters out, put it on the website, and we didn't receive any written comments or any verbal comments either.
All right, very well, thank you. All right, thanks for clarifying. All right, is there anyone present who wish to speak against direct control application 25-081? Anyone wish to speak against direct control application 25-081 a second time? Anyone wish to speak against direct control application 25-081 a third and final time? All right, seeing none. Anyone present wish to speak for direct control application 25-081? Anyone wish to speak for direct control application 25-081 a second time? Anyone wish to speak for direct control application 25-081 a third and final time? Seeing none, also a motion required. For information, Councillor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council accepts for information the input received at this public hearing for direct control development application DP 25-081.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And just the motion to close the meeting, please. Councillor McLean, motion on the table. All in favor? All right. Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 4, adoption of minutes, item 4.1, minutes of regular meeting of council, June 9th, 2025. Mr. Tebow.
Administration hasn't noted anything in the minutes, so back for council's approval.
All right, thank you. Anything arising? All right, someone prepared to make that motion? Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on June 9th, 2025 as presented.
All right, motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 5, business arising, Arnon bylaws, item 6, item 6.1, first reading for land use bylaw 13-2025. Mr. Tebow.
We'll have the same three come forward, Selena, Chris, and Hillary, and they'll point out some of the adjustments to the land use bylaw.
All right.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So before you today, we have our first reading for a bylaw amendment. This particular amendment is a text amendment. There's no rezoning in this. This, though, is intended to fix some errors that we found and add some efficiencies in for decision, different things like that. So a couple of the things in this bylaw are, we noticed that in our R1 district, so our kind of lowest density district, usually it says maximum height for a house is 10.5 meters, but in this district it says minimum height for a house is 10.5 meters, and we thought that might be an error, so we've just asked to have that changed. Another thing is we added in a parking requirement for childcare. We have one for childcare limited, but not for like childcare, and we've seen kind of a rise in people kind of looking at daycares and childcare. So we've added in just a requirement for that so that it's a little more clear. We currently do not have the ability to issue a Class A or B sign in our M1 or M2 districts. We can, however, issue them in our downtown district, our comprehensive commercial district, and our M3 district. So we thought maybe that was just an oversight in the bylaw. So Class A signs are things like window signage, addressing signs, real estate signs, and those little foldable sandwich signs. Class B signs are things like fascia signage. So that's the signage you just attach to the front of your business. It doesn't seem reasonable that we wouldn't be able to put that on a business in our industrial area. So again, we think this is probably just more of an oversight, and so that would be just a fix. We're adding them in as a permitted use into those two districts. They're permitted uses in all the other districts as well. Then in our DC2 district, so this is the district where the new development, that shopping center with the Starbucks, and then that other half is where that's going up. Right now, all of the permits come through council, so you guys are the deciding body for all of the permits. And so what we've done is request that we add in the ability for when something is a permitted use permit, that rather than bringing it to council, having a public hearing, taking that time, if it's a permitted use, it meets all the requirements, and we could just issue that permit in the office like we would do with like a modular home or a manufactured home in the DC4 district. So permitted uses in that district are kind of limited. There's a couple of sign classes, and then there's something called a conditional use in that district. So if it's listed as a conditional use, if it's going inside an existing building, it is then considered permitted. So in that case, we would be able to issue the permit. But if it's requiring a new building or an addition, then it's still discretionary, and those would have to come through council for an approval. And it would just likely be able to reduce the timeline a bit. So rather than having to have a public hearing and arrange for it to come to a council meeting, we can issue it in office if it's meeting all the requirements. And then the next change that we're looking for is actually in the DC4 district, which most of us know as the Meadows. So out there, we're looking to move those slab on grade houses from a discretionary use, which it currently is, to a permitted use. And in that district, it currently exists that if it's a permitted use, the Development Authority or our office can issue those permits, and it will greatly reduce the amount of time it takes to issue those particular permits and remove some of those barriers for developing those out there. So, and then the last one, the addition of use addition. We have a use for a salvage yard in one of our districts, but no definition. And we have had a lot of people asking about things like auto wreckers and stuff like that. So we thought we just put a definition in there so that a few years from now, if somebody else is looking at why we issued something or didn't, there's at least a definition to go along with it.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Selena? Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to Ms. Newberry. So I'm not exactly clear on your explanation of number 5. Could you give, so you said that if the business is locating inside an existing building, it's permitted. Could you give us an example?
Okay, so I'll use the current buildings that are there. So when those initial buildings went up, we brought the application to council. A public hearing was held, notices were sent out. Council made the decision. But for example, when the marble slab went to go in there, that, because of the way it's written, had to come to you guys, still had to have a public hearing. So instead of me being able to issue that in about a week because it met the requirements, it took closer to a month. And that use is considered a conditional use because it's a restaurant, which is listed as a conditional use. But because it was going inside that shell that's already built, if it was technically a permitted use. So you guys, when something's a permitted use, if it meets the requirement of the land use bylaw, we have to actually give the permit. We can't turn it down. Whereas a discretionary permit's a little different. So the discretionary uses absolutely should still be coming to council. But the permitted uses, if you guys are looking for a way to kind of reduce those timeframes on those things that are things like restaurants and stuff like that, those listed use, those ones that are listed as conditional, this would be a way to do that. So, but say they wanted to build another unit on one of those existing buildings, that would still be discretionary because they're building something new. So anytime they're adding square footage or putting a new building up, it doesn't matter what it is, it's discretionary basically in that district. But if it's going inside an existing building, so say for example, the marble slab goes in there and a couple years down the road, they decide that they're not gonna do it anymore and now they wanna put in a subway. The subway right now would still have to come back to you guys for the approval, but if this change went in, rather than having to come to council for an approval, we could just issue that within our office because it would be considered a permitted use.
All right, thank you. Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Selena, just a comment. I thank you very much for going through the exercise of trying to streamline a rather difficult land use bylaw. And it's got to be the most boring job in the world.
Again, Councillor Beckering, through to Councillor Beckering. Thank you. I rather enjoy it, but it comes down to, you know, if you don't like it, if you need something to put you to sleep at night, it's probably a great read for that.
All right, thank you, Selena. Counselor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I guess, Mr. Beckering, don't quit your day job then. Selena, I really appreciate you looking into this, and the more we can streamline and eliminate red tape is more beneficial for our business community. So thank you very much for these suggestions, and I'd be prepared to make a motion.
Very well.
I make a motion that council gives first reading to bylaw 13-2025 to amend the land use bylaw 13-2020.
Thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Yeah. On to item 7, action items, item 7.1. The 3 slab on grades in a row, yes, correct. Mr. Tebow.
Yeah, so as council has recognized, this is pertaining to what we did just have as a public hearing, and now we're going through the development permit process, and so we'll have the trio come up again for the next 3, and then we can make them go away for just a little while.
The worst is over, actually, so we're okay.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So before us today, we have an application for a slab-on-grade home, and this one is located in the Meadows. It does meet all the requirements of our land use bylaw. There's no variances required for over height or any particulars like that. So we are recommending an approval for this one.
All right, thank you. Any questions? So prepared to make that motion. Councilor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council approves development permit DP 25-079 for a slab-on-grade house or slab-on-grade at 7038 48th Street, Unit 90, Condo Plan 2210424 with the following 13 conditions.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.2, same slab on grade location. Mr. Tebow?
Yep, it's the same, Mayor and Council. Press on.
All right.
So again, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Council. So this is our next slab-on-grade home. Again, this one doesn't require any variances. It meets all the requirements of our land use bylaw, and we are recommending approval.
All right, thank you. Councilor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No questions, just prepared to make a motion that council approves development permit DP 25-080 for a slab-on-grade at 7042 48th Street, Unit 89, Condo Plan 2210424 with the following 13 conditions.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Item 7.3, slab on grade as well. Mr. Tebow?
One last time, one last slab on grade.
All right, thank you.
So again, Mr. Mayor and Council, this is our last slab-on-grade home for this meeting. Again, it meets all the requirements. It doesn't need any variances, and we are recommending approval.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising whatsoever? Councilor Renfort?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion that council approves development permit DP 25-081 for a slab on grade at 746 48th Street, Unit 88, Condo Plan 2210424 with the following 13 conditions.
All right, thank you. On the motion on the table, any further discussions? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.4, review of policy C2. Mr. Tebow?
As council recalls, we had this at the last meeting. It got put forward back to this meeting. Administration made no changes to the fundamentals of what they were recommending for the policy. So hand it back over to council for discussion. This one was, I think we mostly discussed the idea of the committee being part of the policy, the public committee, or not. It was one of the updates. If there's any questions, feel free to ask.
All right, thank you. Councilor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have a question in regards to 2.1, because we do receive a monthly salary, but however, some of my committees, I am traveling out of town. and may ask for some type of travel reimbursement. So I was wondering if that would fall under 2.1 or if that would be somewhere else.
Mr. Tebow?
So I believe this does fall under something else. It's not automatic that we have a travel and subsistence allowance, I think is what it's getting at. So we're moving it from there, but there is still the ability to submit travel and substance allowance through our regular travel voucher or travel process. So unless I'm incorrect, Donna, but. Oh yeah, there we go. It is under 2.3 speaks to it.
Okay, all right. Counselor Sorensen?
Yeah, again, I just wanted to specify, because it's like an actual committee that I'm attending, but it's, you know, like South Grow is anywhere in the region. So then perhaps I might ask for some reimbursement. So I just wanted to clarify that it is still going to be covered under one of these statements.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions arising? Counselor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It says under purpose, under 1.1, the town of Tabor provides a fair and reasonable level of remuneration for elected officials. My question is, Mr. Mayor, has this been established for the next term?
All right, thank you. Mr. Tebow?
Councillor Beckering, it has not been established. So we separated, last meeting we had them both together and we found that to be problematic. So first we're going to deal with the policy, and then in our July meeting, we do have the remuneration there with all the legwork that administration has done.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, back to the questions at hand here. So I guess to clarify, item 2.5, it's about whether or not to use a public at large panel, basically, right? For that input, and I just see that as a benefit and a good option for our general public to be part of if they so choose. I know we had it one time, I think one attempt, is that accurate? Several years ago, and we weren't successful at gaining any interest.
We did put it out. I believe it was maybe not last election, maybe it was the election before that, with no uptake. We did three asks and nothing came forward.
Okay. But again, I don't know, it's just, to me, it was, I'm not sure when that was put in the policy exactly, but to me, it's a beneficial option to have and to allow the public some input if they're willing to participate. Councillor McLean?
I was just going to make a motion,
ahead.
Mr. Mayor, that council approve policy C-2, council remuneration as presented.
All right, thank you. We have a motion on the table. Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I speak in favor of the motion, and this includes the committee, as mentioned by yourself, Mr. Mayor. I believe that a committee would no doubt ask the same questions from the same people to get the same result as what's happening right now. So I do not understand the benefit of this particular establishment of a committee, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Rumford?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Going to Councillor Beckering's comments too, I agree with him in that, yeah, this is a decision we are elected to make, and I think we're able to do it.
All right, thank you. Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am speaking in opposition to the motion. I would like to see that item 2.5 remain in, but change to 5-person. While I don't disagree that we were elected to make that decision, I would appreciate the ability to have input from the public. And I would point out that it does say may establish, so it's not a requirement. It's just, it gives council the option of establishing it or not establishing it. And I like the flexibility of being able to hear from the public.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen?
I'll give my 2 cents. You know, I've been wavering back and forth, and I still do believe that there should be a committee of the public, and I would, again, the verbiage of may establish, I still like it, the option of it being in there. I have a problem with it being on the 4th year, like, of council. I would like it within the term of council. I think we're putting ourselves up for, some target practice with it being in the 4th year, so.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Good point. All right, thank you, Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think since that we're not talking about our current salary, we're talking about future council pay. I think that this is a good enough committee that is established. I think it's hard to get, like as was done before, it's hard to get people to come forward to make that committee. And then comes the risk of, okay, well, what if you don't agree? What if council doesn't agree with what the committee is trying to recommend? Then I think that kind of can play some, then it looks bad. Then what do you do, really? Then you're kind of at a standstill of what to do. And so I think that our members of the public, we are still taxpayers ourselves. And we know what this job entails, so we have a better idea of what the time commitments are and all the things that this job does entail. And so I think for us to then make a recommendation for what the next council pay should be, then I think that this is a good body for that purpose. Because we're not determining our pay, we're determining the next pay, somebody else's. We might not be on council next term. So I'm just saying it's just us making that recommendation for the next council.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? We do have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Defeated? Stays as is. All right. Moving on to item 7.5, response to stand item 213-2025.
Okay,
Mr. Tebow.
that'll be me. Where do I have it? I didn't print that one off, that's why. So this was in response to Councillor Sorensen, speaking to everything that was going on 50th. There was some, I think it was referred to as a jungle out there, which it was. And I think the very day that you had made the motion, Councillor Sorensen, Recreation was already tasked with plucking all the weeds, which they did, and we included just some pictures of what that now looks like in the package, and showing that it does have the fabric underneath. We did also supply the amount that it would cost to re-landscape the area. So as far as information going forward, administration just provided this and hoped that that might satisfy what your original request was about.
All right, thank you, Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I do appreciate administration. I put it on the web that, there's some weeds. There was a timely reaction to it. It was fixed and corrected. And by no means am I saying that, administration isn't looking in after this, but I was just hoping that there's a different way for us to, control the weeds, which unless we get rid of all weeds, it's not going to happen. But thank you for looking into this. I did look and see that there was landscaping fabric there. And thank you for administration for looking into this.
All right, so just to clarify, I guess that they were, just as luck would have it, I guess we're cleaning up that week anyway, right? Is that part of the area?
Yeah, it actually didn't have to do with the motion. I think it was already going to be happening. It just,
yeah.
we just didn't get there as fast as what people see it a lot faster than we can actually get there most of the time. So,
Right. So-
and there was spraying that took place on Wednesday as well, which will kill the rest of its.
Okay, very well, thank you. All right, Councillor Sorensen, that's satisfactory?
Yeah, again, I just wanted to make sure there was a weed barrier and see if we could control it a little bit better. And I
Right.
appreciate the answer from administration.
All right, thank you. All right, that's got that covered.
Yeah, we could just get a motion,
Just
Mr. Mayor. It's
for
just,
information?
yeah, it's a
Yes,
simple one.
Okay, sure, all right. So prepared to make that motion. Counselor Sorensen?
I can when I find it. I make the motion that council receives administration's response to standing item 213-2025 for information.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7.6, Tank 77 concept approval. Mr. Tebow.
Mr. Mayor and Council will have Mr. Egan come forward to go through the Tank 77 story.
All right, thank you, Mr. Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'll be brief on the story, the history. I'll actually start somewhat partway through the last time Council saw this. Council delegated the initiative to the Arts and Heritage Committee. That committee met and created a working group in order to identify criteria that they would use or propose to use to evaluate future concepts that would come around the initiative that we're calling Tank 77. They held several meetings and came up with the criteria, and then that group moved to generate and evaluate concepts, and 3 concepts came out of that deliberation. And at the March 18th Arts and Heritage Committee, we brought sort of initial designs to start in order to properly evaluate each of the concepts. Arts and Heritage Committee on March 20th moved to have administration return to council and put forward options 1 and 2. And so that's the RFP today. Options 1 and 2, as directed by, which is why it's the recommendation. It's actually coming from Arts and Heritage. So today we have a recommendation, a 2-component recommendation, to budget $90,000 to complete options 1 and 2, as recommended by Arts and Heritage Committee, with funding to come from capital reserves. And there are, per our normal administrative processes, there are also a couple other alternative recommendations should council want to consider one of those instead of the Arts and Heritage Committee recommendation. And we have some images that capture the concepts or the similarities of the 3 panels. The first image, where you look through a clear panel and you see more than just what's in the background. That's option 1, and option 2 is a wrap of sorts on the Aquafund Center building on the south side that would be visible from Highway 3. And this would consist of panels that would be fastened to the building and allow the wrap or a film that you'd see typically automotive to capture images and then be applied to that to create what you'd see or a version of what you'd see in pictures 3 and 4 in the package.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tebow?
And just in addition to that, I remember that way back when we had some grant monies that was available for this project. We are still working with our grant writers. They have located one grant in particular. It wouldn't cover the entire amount, but it would cover up to $40,000. And so we would be going after grants for this project in particular, just because I know there was some sensitivity around that back at the beginning of time. So I just thought I'd add that in.
All right, thank you. Councilor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of questions. As part of the transparent panels, I thought that, so is the original location over by the Aquafund Center, or is it back kind of where we bought that parkland, kind of over by Parallel Church? Because I thought that that was the original location of the tank. So I'm just curious about that first.
So, excuse me, the original location of the original tank is at the corner of the Parallel Church building, actually in the right of way for the railroad. This proposal, option 1, is south of the parking lot of the Aquafund Center, and although it's not, the concept is not fixed because we need to actually get an artist to identify what would be on the panels and then final locations of the panels. But conceptually, we thought 3 panels, 2 facing, so if you're standing on the path, there'd be 2 panels facing on the south side of the path so that you'd look through towards the railroad track, and then a 3rd panel as you look down to the east, you would see some art form in the original location of that particular. So that this is a Brian Martin, Chris Egan concept to try and draw attention to exactly or somewhat the type of thing. But ultimately, if you said yes, go ahead and do this, we would have to, much like the murals, we would have to employ an artist who would come up with what they actually wanted to put on the panels, and then we'd have to figure out the type of material, the lighting, all that kind of good stuff around, create the arts and heritage image that people are looking for. And so there'd be some version of artist hiring and then a conversion and a construction of that. So that.
All right, thank you, Councilor McLean.
Yes, thank you. I just have another follow-up question. I do like that idea, and I think it's kind of a cool idea of looking through the panel and kind of seeing what it used to look like. My second question that I had was the vinyl wrap. Does it let light in? Because one option was to cover the windows, the other option was to not cover the windows. But if you covered the windows, would it still let light in? Because that's kind of nice for the pool area to still have that light coming in. So I'm just wondering if one version is better than the other.
So the area by the pool that those panels, that translucent area, is by the diving board. But the wrap would prevent light from entering that location at all. Blake, do we know how much light currently comes through there? Is there some?
Yeah, right now, especially in the winter, they really utilize that natural light coming in. But with the metal paneling that would be required for that wrap, there just won't be any coming through.
All right, thank you, Councilor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just to answer some of Councilor McLean's comments, just because we sat on that committee. The reason why it was proposed to have change locations is because it's more accessible from the highway for visitors to actually enter into the Civic Center parking lot, whereas traffic is a little bit limited in one direction, where the first proposed site was, just in that park. So that was just the recommendation that came out of those meetings. And I thought that it was 1 and 3. I thought it was the, not the wrap, but I thought that the actual bronze statue was maybe what and maybe I was incorrect, but I thought 1 and 3 was chosen, or some variation, not the actual item 2.
So we've pulled the resolution from Arts and Heritage, and so we're faithfully portraying that. However, as a member of that group, if that's your recollection, perhaps we should go back and just double check with others to make sure that we did record that correctly.
Yeah, that's my recollection also was 1 and 2, just as
1 and 2.
situated, or as stated in the package, yeah. Councilor Sorensen?
Or 1 and 3, you mean? Like the bronze?
Well, I think the 1 and 2 is what's here.
Oh, 1 and 2 was
Yeah.
correct? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's,
No, that's all right.
to be honest, I think all 3 originally were favorable to the whole committee, but in the end, it came out to 1 and 2. Correct? Is that right, Councilor Firth? That sound right?
I remember number 1 for sure.
Yeah, Mr. Tebow, you were at that meeting also. Is that not all that?
I remember 1 and 2 as well, but that doesn't,
Yeah,
it's not a steel trap up here anymore, so.
all three were favorable to the Arts and Heritage Committee, and they had a hard time deciding, but in the end, it was 1 and 2. That's what was decided on, right? Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not on the committee. What were you guys smoking that night?
We had a lot of meetings about this, okay?
I guess we can reserve that answer to another time. No, there's a lot of discussion, a lot of legwork and a lot of time involved with that, but no, I believe this is accurate. 1 and 2 was accurate. So any other questions or comments? Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do think that these are a great idea. I think it's kind of cool to represent the tank and the history behind the tank and be able to look through those panels and see kind of where they were. I think that's a great idea. And I like the idea of putting them back over kind of on the path where people, because that path gets used a ton versus over at the park, like that other park that we purchased, that is way less accessible and closer to more, like, it just is, yeah, a little too close for comfort for people to go and like use it as a viewing area. But I would be in favor of this as long as it's not covering the panels for the pool. I do appreciate the light that does come into the pool. I think that that's kind of beneficial for the pool. It does make it better to have more light coming in for that area. So I do think it would be better to have the windows uncovered. That would be my comment.
All right, good. Thank you for checking that, Councillor Firth. Okay, any other discussion? Councillor Rufford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Going to Councillor McLean's comments of taking the light out. Yeah, the light was, so if I make the motion to leave number 2 out, I kind of forcing the committee to do option 1. Is that kind of not what, if I just say, let's do option? Huh? They're doing, it'll be them. It'll be both, like they're gonna do both? Oh, so we can't just make them give them.
Yeah, you can make whatever motion.
Yeah, well, I thought it was just the 90 grand and then they were gonna still kind of figure it out, but. Yeah, I don't wanna cover that up either.
So you can make just do option 1.
But it gives you the option for covered or uncovered. So is it covered?
Well, just a question is I don't know from the structural side or cosmetic side of that, is there a way to allow some light in for one of the asks, a couple of the asks here? Mr. Egan, if you remember that.
So I think the pragmatic way would be to just to eliminate the metal panels that are required for the film in the location, and just so you just have the image of Tank 77 above the glass panels. Yeah, it's totally possible to do. It's just a question of how much of that image you'd like, and these are just sample images, just to ensure that you have a general idea of the initiative. Any direction that council provides, ultimately you're the decision makers on this. You could ask us to go away and do more renderings and narrow it down. It's up to,
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like I said, because the lights now come up as I didn't know that was an issue or going to be a change that way, but until now, but like a skylight type thing, is there something in your mind that could be done to satisfy that light entry into the pool as it is now? I mean, very same concept, very same look, other than the roof pieces having some light availability.
So definitely, we can engineer
Yeah, I don't
skylights
know.
in order to get more light into the pool on the main roof area. It would be difficult in this particular section because it's small and part of the image is the roof of the Tank 77.
Right, yeah.
We don't have that, and we didn't anticipate that in putting this opinion of probable cost together, but we definitely could look at solving that problem another way.
It seems to be an important question come up here. They get the best of all worlds here, but Councillor Remford.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to make a motion then. So, get back to it.
It's just, can I just make a
Yeah.
comment?
Sure, yeah.
I'd just like to make a comment, like, this is just a preliminary
Yeah,
drawing.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is just an estimate, administration, whatever your motion
Yeah.
comes with.
You okay, Mr. Mayor, if I make a
Yep.
motion? I'll make a motion that council approves a project budget of 90,000 to complete option 1 and 2 of Tank 77 initiatives recommended by the Arts and Heritage Committee with funding to come from capital reserves.
All right, thank you. Councillor McLean?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to say, they gave us a rendition of what they could do to not cover the windows. So I don't think it really matters. Yeah, so, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, all right, we do have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, on to item 7.7, Trout Pond Picnic Shelter tender results. Mr. Tebow?
Looks like we'll call Mr. Egan forward again to speak to the tender results. Not exactly what we were thinking or what we were led to believe at the very beginning from a cost perspective, so that's why we're back in front of council.
All right, Mr. Egan?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council. The Trout Pond Picnic Shelter is part of the Trout Pond Recreation Area Master Planning approved by Council. There are actually 2 of these, so this would be the first one to go in. Originally, this initiative project was assigned to facilities. So Blake's here with if you have any particular detail questions, he's 100% versed on all of this. The first attempt we made to use a design build process, and we received no offers from any contractor. So we reverted to a design tender and a lump sum tender. That took place. We received 5 bids, lump sum bids, all above our approved budget, with the lowest bid submitted in the competitive process coming from VHL, $238,400. So in order to proceed as per the current design and the current approved program, we're asking for a budget increase of $87,000 on the total project budget to bring that approved budget up to $250,000. Another option, we have 2 alternatives. Typically so we've had the entire marketplace tell us that our budget was incorrect. And the spread between the 5 contractors, who were all attempting to be the low bidder, is if you eliminate the highest bidder, Westcor at 367, they're in a fairly tight group, meaning that typically we would interpret that as that group saw the project pretty much the same, and although their numbers are slightly different, that generally is the price for that particular scope of work at this moment in time. So another option, if council doesn't wish to adjust the budget and go ahead with the project as is, would be to re-tender the project at a different time and see if the market returns a different price. And the third option is to reprogram the facility and make it either smaller or, which really should go back to recreation. You could reassign it back to recreation rec board to reevaluate what is required from a program perspective, and that will change the price. And so there's 3 different ways to come at this, and we're looking for council's direction.
All right, thank you, Councillor Sorensen.
you, Mr. Or Mayor. And Mr. Egan, I sat on this board, but I can't remember, was the budgetary pricing attached to the design, or was just the design shown to the Recreation Board?
No, the budget, which was generated by our consultants, MPE, who have arguably the best handle on the marketplace that you can have, and are still this far out, was attached at the time, and the concept and the budget was approved to move forward, which is why we did that.
Can I
Sure.
carry on then?
Yep.
So because of that, I think that we decided on a design because it still fell within our budget. So I think if you were to take this back to the rec board, they would still try and come up with a building design that fell within the budget. And I know there was different designs for us to choose from. So I think potentially, if council wanted to, we could send this back and pick a different design, which was less expensive, but I'm not sure what everyone wants to do.
All right, just for some clarity purposes, rec board doesn't meet again until September now, unless there's a special meeting that's called, but which can happen. But so I guess I had some frustration with this also, but talking to Mr. Tebow about it as well, and MP guesstimated low, right? Is what happened. So unfortunately, we got a little bit of bad advice there, and that's it is what it is. But we all agreed, as per the rec board's recommendation, to go with this concept, but that price tag's a factor for sure. So I don't know, it's sad that if we'd have to reduce that, so say you get 2/3 of whatever we could get for the price, then we're altering the design and what we're expecting there. So it's kind of like going backwards instead of forwards because we've got some inaccurate advice from what we like to think is our experts, normally. But I guess we're saddled with what's going on out there with everything else in the world.
This isn't, while it's surprising, it's not a surprise. There are tenders coming in for different things. Some of our budgets are good, and some of them are not even close to being good. And this just happened to be one where the best advice we had at the time for this project was that 148 number. And and they're typically, this is the best advice. They're using existing and past projects to project and carry contingency. And so it is the best advice we have at the time.
Yeah, it was also planned to be completed this season with everything else working out
Right.
previously, right?
So just to be clear,
Yeah.
the two ways of reducing budget are reduce quantity or reduce quality, or do both of those things. And so you do not end up with the same product.
Right.
What you're seeing here is a long term, something that will last a long time. And 6 picnic tables will serve a reasonably large gathering of people at one time. And so, and then both MPE and Blake and our internal experts, we reviewed, Brian as well, reviewed a number of different sub-options for walls and materials of this and sort of the trade-offs and balances, and so to try and meet that program requirement. And so some things were already eliminated to get to this design, and the marketplace is now telling us this is the actual cost to build it today.
All right, thank you. Councilor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As much as I want to stay within the budget, part of me thinks, well, prices keep going up. And unfortunately, tariffs have been hitting us as well. So I don't necessarily think that even if you go back and then you re-tender it out, you're going to get a significant reduction. It just depends on timing of things too. We could try. I'm not opposed to trying, but again, I just don't know what you're going to get. So I would be in favor of just going forward.
All right, thank you. Councilor Beckert?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I, for one, am not surprised that some of the numbers that are coming in some of these projects are way out of a budgetary consideration from previous discussions. So I'm not surprised at all. And to say to MPE, you made a mistake, no, I don't think that's correct. So far, we've spent over $2 million at the trout pond of our money and Mr. Ferguson's donation, of course. And it's fast turning out to be a jewel in the crown of recreation for the town of Tabor. So what are we talking about? $87,000 extra? Let's just do it. Mr. Mayor, I'm prepared to make a motion.
All right, thank you.
Council directs administration to increase the project budget by $87,000 for a total project budget not to exceed $250,000 with funding coming from capital reserves.
All right, thank you. Do you have a motion on the table, Councilor Bruin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My apologies for being so late. I got caught up in a deal there I couldn't get out of. I'm glad I came in time for this, so because I cannot believe the price of this. I would. Everyone talks about tariffs, but what are we paying tariffs on right now? Nothing. I would retender this in a flash because, wow, that's a lot of money. Building shops and that, this is crazy price for this building. Like, I don't know what they're building it out of. Because I would not support paying this much money for building this building. I would definitely ask for a retender. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, Councilor Repper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Going to Councilor Beckering's on this being a jewel. This is going to be a forever project. There's a billion tree project. I was at the library when they showed everything, how the expansion around the back and then the driving. I mean, as much as I agree with Councilor Bruin on stuff costing more than it was thought to have, I just know that going forward, this is one of the better things. Like, you see people camping there more and more and more. With the summer games, it's being used. With the fishing, it's being used. It's unfortunate that prices are high, but that project will be worth it.
All right, thank you, Councilor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just to reiterate, there was 5 different designs. We could have chosen any one of them. This one was within budget. Now it's not. So I think that it should be reevaluated.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion on the table? Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. All right, on to item 7.8, information for council. Mr. Thibault.
Okay, for the information for council item, there is the report that's attached from Family and Community Support Services. I know that Mr. Beckering participates on that, so I didn't know if Mr. Beckering had anything to add with this particular report or not. Sir?
Right, Councilor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the report is fairly self-explanatory. FCSS, Barons Rica Warner, is doing an excellent job keeping in contact with all segments of society in southern Alberta. It's comprised of 16 municipalities. We've got a really nice board, and I think we have an excellent executive director, and the reporting is accurate because we discussed the length at our last board meeting, and I think there's lots of good work being done and at a very reasonable price. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you.
And then item number 2, we were addressing Councillor Sorensen's request, a standing item request to look at the Municipal Planning Commission, the bylaw related to that. And so we touched a little bit on it tonight. Councillor Sorensen, you made a comment yourself. We do continually look at ways to try and make things a little faster, easier, quicker, and still effective. And just a little bit of we talked about this before, just a bit of history lesson, because we're not actually, administration is not making any recommendations for any changes. But we do have a new Director of Planning Development and Economic Development who you met tonight. And I believe that Hillary is going to bring some value to this process and continuously look at this where we can provide some updating. We did recently conduct a survey. There wasn't a lot of participation in that survey, but I think Councillor Firth had requested that we go through a development sort of survey process. We did question the members of the MPC, and they didn't really have any suggestions for changes. They weren't real fond of adding additional meetings to their agenda as a mandatory, but they were quite open to doing any type of a special meeting if that was required. And there would be some discretion with special meetings. There is a cost associated to a special meeting, but administration can have some discretion around the type of meeting. And so administration could actually call the meeting themselves, or they could, discretionary ask for that $250 request for a special meeting. So that's sort of what administration had to present, Councillor Sorensen, and we feel that we are doing the best that we can to try and streamline things.
All right, thank you, Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to Mr. Tebow, thank you for looking into this. Again, it's just someone raised a concern or a question, and it's always good for us to take a look at ourselves, and I can appreciate administration looking at all of the bylaws, the committees, and the procedures. So I'm satisfied with this, and something new, I did not know that administration could call the meeting also for a special meeting, so that's good to know. If you have a lot of things on your desk and you need to call a meeting, that's good to know. So I appreciate administration giving this feedback.
All right, thank you.
That's all the items on the list for tonight, Mr. Mayor.
That's everything yet. All right, thank you. All right, no motion required for that. Moving on to item 7.9, department reports. We'll go through those individually. If you have any questions, please advise. Starting with Economic Development Department report. CAO report. Administrative Services report. Mr. Tebow?
We just had a couple of items highlighted in the admin services report, and if I could ask, is Megan here? Oh, there she is, hiding behind the post. If she could come up and just explain the two highlighted items for council.
All right, thank you.
My team is quite reticent to come up, so they've volunteered me. So as council will see, the Administrative Services Department is the recipient again of 2 more international awards. This is our 27th since 2017. So I think to date, if I'm allowed to crow for a minute, we are the most awarded department in town history, which is kind of incredible. This year, the 2 awards are an honorable mention, which is technically the bronze in that level of award for the infographic series you've been seeing called The Council and Crew Working for You, where it explains to the public the work that council does in one department versus what staff does in a department, and that way we can explain to the public how the gears of municipalities grind. But the gold award is for something that has not yet come to fruition, which is the first of its kind for our awards. It's called Munis 101, and we realize that getting elected on council is like drinking through a fire hose with training. So for the next council, we want to be a little bit kinder than I think we've treated councils in the past. And we're proposing a new training function where we break down our municipal workings into more palatable, bite-sized pieces by department. So that's actually won an award. We're excited to see it come to fruition, and we're excited to get the awards. But by we, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, it is a team effort of Brittany Gilbertson, myself, and Taylor Mount Stephen, that your Administrative Services Department works very, very hard, and we're very, very honored to be honored with these awards. And the work goes to them.
All right, well, thank you all for that. Appreciate that, Megan. All right, on to Engineering and Public Works report. Councillor Sorensen?
I think there was one more highlighted item that you need to.
You guys wouldn't read the department reports. Yes, so, thank you, Councillor Beckering. Yes, Councillor Sorensen caught me out. I've been asked and accepted to go to Toronto this year to present to the Canadian Communicators Conference. Again, the One Woman, 20 Ostriches comedy show is going on the road. We're taking wings and we're going to Toronto. So I've been to that conference before. It's provincial-wide communicators like myself throughout all of the provinces and territories come out to it. So it'll be an exciting opportunity having seen the speakers and the quality I hope I can live up to them. So I'm excited to bring Tabor to the big leagues.
All right, well, thank you. Congratulations. Good luck on your conference. All right, back to engineering and public works report. Treatment facilities report. Facility management report. Planning department report. Councillor Sorensen?
I'm not sure which report it was, but there's still dialogue or verbiage referring to COVID-19 pandemic planning still followed. Does this still need to be followed, or can it just be part of normal procedures and we can stop mentioning the C word?
Mr. Thibault?
I think we can probably stop mentioning it, but I don't know which report that's in either, but we can find it and make sure that we see if it's still relevant or not.
All right, thank you, Councillor Bruin.
I think instead of the C word, we should be more concerned about the M word right now with the measles epidemic that's going around. So it's always good to be aware of being safe when you're in public.
All right, thank you. Moving on to planning department reports, HR department reports, recreation reports, and corporate service report. Nothing more, all right. No motion required. Moving on to mayor and council reports. Councillor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mayor, and attended all of my meetings. I also attended Alberta Municipalities Summer Leaders Caucus, which was right close in our neighboring community of Picture Butte, which we discussed several things, municipal election resources and training that they're going to be providing. And there's a study on how they can advocate for municipal taxes and getting more funding trickled back down to the community. And of course, the police government model and how that's going to look for how municipalities and smaller communities are going to be funding that. And also I attended the South Girl annual meeting, which was in Coaldale, and had a lovely meal and some great discussion in that also. So that's all I have to report.
All right, thank you. Councillor Renford?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the meetings, was able to attend, and I am just so excited for the summer games coming up. We got our Canada Day celebrations on the 120th birthday, so hope to see the public down there and, hopefully win a few medals.
All right, more to come. Thank you. All right, Councillor Bruin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all the meetings I was required to. Highway 3 Twin Developers Association meeting, the annual meeting for that. A little disappointed that we're getting some municipalities deciding not to stay in the committee just because the parts of their highway have been twinned, which is a little disappointing to see that. Ditto to what Danny says about the 120 and the summer games coming up. I'm sorry I wasn't able to compete in any this year. I'd love to go up against you in some of them, but good luck, Danny.
Always next year.
Always next year. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all the meetings that I could. I unfortunately missed both Coffee with Council sessions, but I did attend the Pride flag raising that the Tabor Equality Alliance put on. Also helped raise a teepee and attended part of the National Indigenous Peoples Day celebration at the Civic Center, put on by Eagle Spirit Nest. Another highlight, Tabor Police Service has launched their community survey. So I would encourage any members of the public that would like to participate in that. You can find the link on on Tabor Police Service's social media. Also very excited for the Tabor 120 and summer games. I just want to say thank you to everybody that has volunteered. It takes a lot of people pulling together to make those events happen. And so I'd just like to thank them. Also, there's been a busy season with grads, so I just wanted to say congratulations to all of the 2025 grads from our community.
All right, thank you. Councillor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing to report. I've been laying low, to say the least, for the last month, so here we go.
All right, thank you. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all the meetings that I was required to, and I also attended the Coffee with Council on Thursday night.
All right, thank you. For myself, a variety of meetings, document signing requirements. I did attend the Apex Youth Awards celebration event. Also, the Horizon School Division Blackfoot naming ceremony with Elder Charlie Fox presenting the recipient, Superintendent Wilco Tymonson. Attended the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints State Conference. Also attended Parkside Manor Seniors Week breakfast kickoff for Seniors Week, as well as the Clearview Lodge and the cake cutting visit for Seniors Week. I attended the Tabor Christian School Grade 6 Students Projects interview. And I also attended Parkside Manor's Senior of the Year dinner event for recipient Mr. Hans Visser, as well as attending the South Regional Drainage Committee meeting, Mayors and Reeves meeting, Tabor Christian School High School graduation, as well as a Tabor Tank 7 Museum podcast interview. I did also attend the Tabor Equality Alliance flag raising and Party of the Park invite. Attended the Laron and Colleen Torrey's 50th anniversary. St. Mary's High School graduation mass, as well as their ceremonial event. Attended the Tabor Trout Pond Kids Can Catch event. That went over very well again this year. Thanks for all involved and all the volunteers. Also attended the Royal Canadian Air Cadets Squadron Tabor Comet 225 annual review invites. And I attended the U9 to U13 soccer tournament and medal presentations. Attended the Knox United Church 120th anniversary celebration event, as well as the D.A. Ferguson Grade 8 farewell and barbecue event. I attended the Arts and Heritage swearing-in meeting requirement, as well as the Panflame restaurant business meeting invite. I also attended the South Grow annual AGM dinner event at Coaldale Civic Square. Attended the One Coffee with Council Friday, can't say that, Coffee with Council with Mr. Tebow as well. In attendance at Tabor Public Library. I attended and participated in the National Indigenous Peoples Day event with the Indigenous dancers and did some of the drumming as well. And happy to see the Tabor Chaos Lacrosse team provided a demonstration for the original Indigenous sport. And I also attended the Chaos Lacrosse game against the High River team. Tabor winning 16-6 quite handily, and they're now 10-1 and going into the playoff season real quick and get a great chance to win it all. Myself and Reeve Tamerminaga, as well as the Eagle Spirit Nest President Terry Sudo, were gifted with ceremonial Tabor Chaos team sweaters that celebrated the team and or the recognition of the National Indigenous Peoples Day event. Also took on a shift at Lethbridge Casino for the fundraising purpose for the Tabor Tank 77 Museum. And that would be my report. Any other questions? Yes, good question. No motion required. Moving on. Standing item council requests. Mr. Tebow.
Okay, so I'll wander through these. Resolution 131 for Mayor Prokop, the wheelchair accessible swing, still in progress. Resolution 164 with Councillor Sorensen and the Municipal Planning Commission, we spoke about tonight. Councillor McLean, Resolution 182 for the installing recreation signage along 864, still in progress. Resolution 183, Mayor Prokop and the intersection over at Barton Drive. We did meet with the traffic committee. We didn't have time to get all the details into this, so it's going to be considered in progress, but we will have a report out for the next meeting. And then Resolution 213 was Councillor Sorensen for the Westview Boulevard, which we discussed tonight as well. That's everything in the current listing. Back over to council.
All right, thank you. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of things. One was from Coffee with Council on Thursday night that somebody said that there's no trout in our trout pond. And so Darren did address it, but I just wanted to bring it up here and just make everybody aware that I believe that we are looking into it, and we have reached out to whatever Environment Services comes and looks at it, and they've put us off a couple of times. I believe that they are coming this fall, but we might have to drain our trout pond to get our trout back. And I'm not sure why they're dying, but they seem to be going somewhere. But we have no trout in our trout pond, even though we stock it every year. I don't know if Darren wanted to add anything to that point, but I do have another thing to bring up.
I'll just say that generally speaking, you're accurate, and administration is looking into what we can do about where the trout might be going. So you're correct.
Right, thank you. Counselor Sorensen? You had another one?
Oh,
Oh,
but it's
sure.
just in regards to this.
This is a
To the
follow-up,
trout
yeah.
pond. Someone mentioned too, like they witnessed actual birds eating the trout as they're being released, or within the next couple days. So I know it happens. Some of it's nature and predators, but it's good that we continue to look at it.
All right, thank you. You had another item there, Councilor McLean?
Yes, I do. I was curious as to the appetite for council to look at expanding in the Aquafun Center. There is no viewing area for people to, we have a little viewing area, but when there are swim meets, there's not enough space to put chairs around the perimeter of our pool. And I was curious as to the appetite of expanding the building. The only area that I can think of is north. And I know that that's not typically ideal for viewing area for people to participate in swim meets, but there is room. So I'm just curious as to what people's thoughts are on that, because currently there really isn't any space for people to watch a swim meet. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
All right, thank you. Councilor Bruin?
I have no solution to the seating at the pool, but I think perhaps we should wait till we get our new recreation center with our Olympic-sized pools and whatnot. And I think the people in the trout pond, maybe they're using the wrong bait, or the perch are well fed out there. A couple questions I have, if I could get an update on the crosswalk signs that were going to go up in Westview, and also on the water right progress, how we're making out with the auction for that. And I missed that earlier.
Well, actually, I thought you were actually going to comment on something related to, you did briefly on Councilor McLean's comments, but she wasn't finished.
Oh, she was carrying
So-
on. Oh, I'm sorry.
She asked for some input and.
Oh, I thought it was her last question.
Well, it may be.
Please
but-
forgive me, Councilor
but
McLean.
it wasn't
I'll let you
completely
continue.
addressed, so we'll get back to yours also. So you offer no solution, but I don't know, we all got a solution, but sure.
With Tabor Minor Hockey, we did Live Barn, and I know Live Barn is an option for the pool. It is something so that then you can watch, it's being used very well for hockey, it's become quite a thing. And I know the town, Tabor Minor Hockey put it in and Golden Sons put it in, but the town did then take it over and now we're running it. So Live Barn is an option of streaming at the pool. I know lots of people have talked about, it's maybe different, but, it seems to be kind of the future streaming. So it's not a terrible idea for right now.
All right, thank you, Councilor Sorensen.
Yeah, I have a question as to how many meets are actually taking place in the facility. It depends. If there's only 2 a year, then it's hard to justify, the remodeling of the facility.
All right, thank you, Councilor Firth.
I have, a similar question to Councillor Sorensen. I'm just curious what the cost benefit analysis would be. If it's going to cost a lot of money and it's only going to benefit a couple events a year, then I wouldn't be in favor of it. But if we could do it for like cost effect, like, yeah, I would just be curious to know what that cost benefit analysis would be.
Yeah, I just think, in all fairness, that's probably got to go back to administration for some potential recommendations, right? And if that's even doable, I don't know. I mean, Councilor McLean indicates there's a room. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But I think that's more of a follow-up question for administration for possibilities and/or the usage. Maybe is the way to go at this stage, Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just take, I'm not exactly sure how many swim meets they hold every year. I'm just starting to get into that kind of world, because now my kids are participating in it. But, so I'm not exactly sure how many they hold every year. So I will do some more research on my own before I decide to make administration look into it, because, yeah, before we decide like, oh yeah, let's go with it, or, you know, like look into this, I'll do some more research on my side. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Bruin, you're up.
Anyways, no, thank you. My two questions were an update on the crosswalk signs in Westview, as well as how we're making out with our water rights auction.
Mr. Thibault.
So the water rates auction I can speak to, that is on August the 14th. And I was also, Councilor Bruin, looking into so that's the sale of the irrigation acres. I was also trying to find out about the leasing option that council had discussed at one point in time, and I have yet to connect with SMRID on that topic. So I don't have an answer for that one tonight. And if I could defer to Mr. Egan, if he could speak to what's going on the crosswalk.
So the crosswalk at Westview, we have ordered the flashing signs. We need to engage with the post office and with Fortis to move some of their items to different locations. And we haven't started that process yet, just because of the workload we've got going on right now, but we intend to do that, start that process during the summer. My best estimate would be the earliest we'd get the light installed would be late summer, early fall, and probably throwing the post office people under the bus. They have a very long process in relocating their and reconstructing the pads for their post office boxes. Fortis, they can move the street light a little bit easier, but it still requires foundations and underground work and some things like that. So,
Okay, well, thank you. Mr. Egan, there's turned out to be a little more work than we anticipated for those lights. So that's great. And you mentioned a little bit about leasing or renting out our water rights that we do have available now. This rain probably took a little pressure off, but it was very spotty, but from 1 inch to 3 inches across the area here. I'd still like to see us look at that. There are some desperate water users out there that would really appreciate the opportunity to buy some more inches for the land. So I strongly recommend we do follow up with that.
So we've started. We've contacted SMRID, and they're going to be writing a letter to us. It's actually a fairly standard process. About 200 people with both irrigation rights and then the inches of water that go with that do exchanges during the year. The water rights leasing has to be completed. In other words, us and a potential leasee. It's done annually, and it must be done before March 15th for SMRID to incorporate that in their system of water allocation. And so we are investigating it, and we likely will have something by next council.
Okay, I appreciate that. My understanding, if you're moving water rights from one parcel to the other, is March 15th. Mm-hmm. But anytime during the year, you can sell extra inches to your neighbor
Yes.
or whatnot. And us with 150 approximate acres there, 12 inches an acre, there's a lot of potential for that to be used somewhere where it's needed.
Yep, that's
And
my
it would-
understanding,
yeah.
preliminary understanding.
And for us to sit on those, we're paying to have them. And if we can get them out and make some money off it and help some farmers out, it'd be great.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Any other standing item council requests? Okay. No delegations, any media inquiries?
None that I'm aware of? No.
Okay. I just ask for motion to move into our meal break and to move into closed session on our return. Counselor Becker, motion on the table, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you.